Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an action-packed episode of Mixed Bag of Wrestling. I have not done one for at least a month. So this Mixed Bag of Wrestling is about the budget cuts of TNA. Now, Brandon's Corner, he was the one who had asked, hey, why don't you do a review on Tara and on Matt Morgan? And that's what I'm doing right now. So, sir, thank you very much for at least giving me a good idea for something to do. And this is a very upsetting situation here. I've seen Mr. Parkin's video on Destination X, and he does say very clearly, because of TNA being on the road, they don't have the same budget as WWE going on the road. So to balance their books, they have to release people. They had no choice. Now, I know they released Taylor Hendricks, Joey Ryan, Crimson, who is now in OVW, which I thank them so much. They realized with Crimson that he was still great talent and should not be thrown away just because TNA didn't have the money to take care of him. So he's still there. I'm going to be checking OVW periodically to see if any of the others have gone there. But Crimson is the only one so far that is there. I know Madison Rayne, since she's had a baby or she's pregnant, she's out, so they got rid of her. But the people we're talking about is Matt Morgan and Tara. Now, Tara, I just checked the website Dare to Be. Now, when I first found out that she had been released from her contract, well, they just let her go. They still had her up on a website. They had not had time to remove her from the system. Now they have. This is Saturday. I really feel bad that Tara's not there. Look, they don't have that many knockouts. They don't. They have roughly 9 knockouts, and at least one or two of them, about 2 of them, SoCal Val and Christy Hemme don't wrestle. They don't. So everyone else is all they have, and most of them are off doing shows or have taken time off because of injury or just wanted to have a break. So they have very few knockouts to work with. Tara was the most highest paid knockout they had, and it's more than reasonable to say she earned it. As Victoria in WWE, she dominated next to, oh, look, Trish Stratus, you can say a lot. Lita, you can say a lot. Lita and Trish were the most dominant women there, as far as I'm concerned, taking away from Chyna. I like Chyna. She was alright. We now know what Chyna's been doing with her plastic boobs and everything. But those two were a very strong staple of that women's division that became the Divas, which is crap. But Victoria was also a part of that. She helped really raise the bar on how women perceive themselves in wrestling. And when she moved to TNA, she kept it up until they started doing terrible writing with her. Tara can do a good heel, very good heel, when they structure her right. She does an okay face. She's not that bad. And I did a debate of the week months ago on rebuilding the knockouts. And she was a pivotal role there. At least I believe it. It's been a while. I haven't remembered it. But as far as I do remember, I did say she needed to stay where she was. She was that important. But now that she's been removed there, they don't have the same type of experience as a veteran as a Victoria. I know that Mickie James is a great veteran. Gail Kim is good, but they're not the caliber of a Tara. So, really, they could have released a Robbie E. I'm sorry, they could have. To keep Tara. Robbie E compared to a Tara, or Jesse Goddard compared to a Tara, I'm sorry. You could have gotten rid of either one of them or both of them to keep her, because she is still a great talent that's not there anymore. In 2011, I believe I said this before, the first time I ever saw a steel cage match with 2 women was with Tara and Mickie James. That was fucking awesome. I've never seen it before in my life. I've just recently, in the last 10 years, started getting back into the wrestling. And in the last few years, particularly, I've been out of work and I was very depressed. wrestling was one of my escapes. Particularly, I was able to see some of it in replays on cable. Really, that was one of the best things that has happened to me. This show is based on wrestling, and one of the things I remember very well is seeing Tara and Mickie Jane tearing it up in a fucking steel cage. But now that Tara is not there anymore, I believe TNA made a serious mistake. Does not mean they could not rectify this mistake by bringing her back in the next couple of months, or maybe next year. I said this when they first changed their format from a from a monthly pay-per-view schedule to a 4-year pay-per-view schedule. There was going to be problems, and they're not going to be making very good work. They're going to be screwing up. By the next year, I believe they will be doing much better, and we'll know clearly if this new concept for them was going to work. There's a good possibility. This is July. We could get Tara coming back by the beginning of January next year. As much as that sucks, that we won't have Tara all these months, we have to give TNA just a tiny bit of slack. I'm not fond of how they've been doing their work. I admit it. You've seen my videos. Seeing Destination X, and I know Mr. Parkin said this wasn't too bad, it wasn't great, and I said this myself, but the problem I felt putting a theme on that show wasn't really comfortable to me, because if you're going to give Chris Sabin and Bully Ray that kind of position, and I understand about Mr. Parkin saying that, are you kidding me that Chris Sabin has been given the title? I don't buy it. I understand that. That's the reason why I said in my TNA Impact that going into Bound for Glory, this will be a breath of fresh air. I'm not expecting Sabin to continue keeping that title beyond Bound for Glory. I'm not. It could happen, and that might not be a wise thing for TNA to do, but it's something different for Bound for Glory. And seeing this with Tara, you may see her come back next year. You may see that they need a very, very credible veteran back there that people really want to see again. So seeing her, she may come back. Because by the end of the year, going into 2014, I believe TNA will really get a good grasp on their new scheduling and how they're doing their show. But that also kind of hurts them, because I found that Bruce Pritchard has been released as well. Now, Bruce is very good in booking long term. And if you have not seen a video of Paul Heyman I'd say about a year or two before he went back to WWE, he did a video on some show. And he was talking about how they're not ready for long-term booking. He said it very clearly. WWE and TNA are not ready for long-term booking. They care about ratings and short-term. He's correct. And this is how they're doing their schedule right now. But I believe after next year, they'll finally understand that having a longer-term understanding of your product will help. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm hoping that they'll realize that Tara is a long-term investment. You need a credible knockout. Yeah, she's my age. She's 42. She's about 6 months younger or 5 months younger than me. I mean, not younger than me, older than me. Tara is older than me by 5 months, about 5 months at least. So it doesn't matter if she's that old. She's still viable. Now, when we come to Matt Morgan, I really believe they screwed the pooch with him for many years. Matt Morgan, the blueprint, was a great blue chip prospect. They could have done a huge amount of work with him in the last 4 years. But it's like they didn't understand what to do with such a big, powerful man that, yes, he sounded like he had a little bit of a lisp, but he could still talk. And people still liked him, even with a lisp. I would have liked to see him go to OVW. At least stay there with Crimson. At least then he could be brought back. But by him deciding on his own to make the request to get released, made me realize he decided, and I believe it was Mr. Parkin that said it, either release him, no, Mr. Parkin and the Slick Daddy, they both pretty much said this, not exactly in the same wording, but honestly, either you do something with this man or you release him. And I am very disappointed that they did nothing with this man properly. They had something going on before. When it came to the Sting match and him, he should have went over, and he didn't. And then instead of putting him for Bound for Glory, they decided to let him go when they did that. I just felt like they lost something big with Matt Morgan. I don't know if Matt Morgan's going to go to WWE. He might. He's been there before. He was there before when he was younger. When you could see, honestly, that Matt Morgan was smaller when he first went in there, and he's a much bigger guy now. Literally, he is. I seen the original video of him when he was in a Royal Rumble. That man was smaller physically. I mean, he still had the height, but the bulk he did not have. So he changed his look. And now he's been in TNA long enough. I'm sure he can build a good character, and they could do something with him in WWE if they don't screw it with him. Do I believe they'll do it? I don't know. But I really believe that Matt Morgan is a great loss for TNA. He could have been in the Bound for Glory series. If there was someone that should have gone up against Bully Ray by Bound for Glory, if it wasn't Saban winning now, it could have been a Matt Morgan. If they had structured him saying, I'm disgruntled, I'm going to kick ass, kind of like an AJ Styles right now, it might have gotten over. People would have gone for it. But they kept dropping it, and like they kept changing their mind the last minute, saying, let's push him right here. Well, wait a minute. No, we just can't do that. We can't do that. He's just not ready. But oh, wait a minute. He did a good promo there. He did good ring work. Let's push him again. Oh, wait. No, it's just not good. We can't let Sting lose because we're doing something with Angle. We drop him again. They truly messed this man up. And I really believe if they don't bring him back by at least next year, or at the end of this year, and tell him, look, we are going to push you this time, and give him a credible storyline to be in, they have lost one of the best things they could have had. He could have pushed them well into the next year and increased their ratings. When he had that little incident with with Mr. Anderson when he got concussed, he did a good run as a face to a point. By the time he met Crimson, that, of course, it didn't go well. But there was a certain point he did pretty well, at least by my perspective. So I'm really hoping they understand they need to bring in credible stars and keep them. And if you need to get rid of a Robbie E., a Jesse Goddard, they got rid of Jesse Sorensen. We never even got a chance to see him. He wasn't ready. And they had to let him go. And it would have been perfect with Zema Ion. This is what they've been doing for the last couple of months. Who do you think is going to get cut next? I have no idea. I'm hoping it's not someone that we truly need for the future. I'm very worried about this. They keep dropping so many people. You don't know what they're going to do. And if they don't get a grasp on this soon, they need a new head writer now because Bruce Pritchard isn't there. He did long-term work, which actually would have worked for TNA if they cared not so much about ratings. So I don't even know who they're going to have as a head writer now. I hope it's not Vince Russo. If Jim Cornette came back, maybe you might stand a chance, but I'm sure many people don't like Jim Cornette. The way the man talks, he can be abrasive, but I believe he's pretty honest. And if they could get Jim Cornette from ROH, if he's there, I really believe they'll do some good work with him. But that's just me. You guys tell me below anything that I said makes sense. I really want to know your opinion. So I hope you enjoyed this mixed bag of wrestling. Have a good evening and subscribe and comment to Zane's View if you want.